will be younger for longer. So people think we are about to grow old. No. When we look at the total size of the population in the future, it will be a young population. Therefore, we can categorically say the future belongs to the young. Say it. You didn't mean it. Say it again. But this young population, if it's not capable of employability, capable of entrepreneurship, then our problems might become high pressure. So this growing population will everything will be needed at scale. Are you here? Here. And the market will be here. Do you understand that? Anything you can sell to 100 million people makes you a millionaire. Even if you sold it at ₦1. Are you here, church? Huh? Something crazy is happening to me. Okay, but anything you can sell, any solution you can convert to solve problems for 100 million people, even if $1 makes you a millionaire. Imagine you can then sell it at $10 to 100 million people. So the opportunities will be here, but the opportunities come dressed as pressure, as hard work, as disruption. Next slide. So this is our future. Our future is young. Next slide. Our future, therefore, has its pressures. The pressure of the environment. You're discussing feeding more people. The pressure on technology. You're discussing providing faster, better products that reach more of us across the country. Right? On zero entrepreneurship, unemployable 320 million Nigerians. Just imagine it. Okay? The cascading consequences in terms of social unrest, lack of social cohesion, is not even something we can conceive. And we shouldn't conceive it. Because we are here, and 2050 is there. And now, we have the opportunity by this convening to close the gap. Are you with me? Next slide. Next slide shows that, His Excellency had pointed to, we are living in an era of disruption. Technology disruption, social disruption, disruption in the acceleration of social political conditions. And people have asked the question, will Nigeria survive it? So there are some options. Next slide. 3 scenarios. Okay, scenario 1. Next slide. Nigeria does nothing, or you call Nigeria stagnates. We continue to do what we are doing. Okay? Scenario 2, Nigeria rises. And when we say Nigeria rises, it means Nigeria young people are a significant part of that rising. Because of our number, Nigeria cannot rise if it does not rise. Number 3, Nigeria fails. We basically, instead of doing better, we do worse by ourselves. And that, of course, could even lead to Nigeria disintegrated. Next slide. In economic terms, it means that the capacity to produce as a country increases. Currently, we are a low productivity. Right now, we are doing an average of about 3-point-something GDP growth rate. This is not our future. At 3.4 GDP growth rate, Nigeria barely makes it and leaves too many people behind. Now, Nigeria fails scenario. We can't feed ourselves. We can't manage our issues. We can't put our young people to work. The young people begin to unbundle the social systems and political systems due to crime, unrest, and then we destabilize Nigeria and the rest of West Africa, okay? But that's a scenario that, you know, what we will say here is God forbid. Let me hear you say it. And then say we forbid. Because the future is not created by hope, it's created by intentionality, strategic intentionality. The Nigeria rises scenario means we put Nigeria to work, okay? And how do you put Nigeria to work? You put Nigeria's youth to work. Next slide. And if we put Nigeria's youth to work, if you cannot put the youth to work. The critical component of our productivity is that if 67% of us are young, and not just young, this is the worker age population, right? And you can't put that to work, then the future will not rise. But by God's grace and by the future will rise. Okay, it will rise. Next slide. Now, if we do not rise at the current rate, okay, if we cannot create jobs from entrepreneurship and we cannot build employable young people, by 2050, right, you are discussing the unemployed, right, being as high as 200 million. And if you have 200 million unemployed people with the cascading consequences, it was unmanageable. Now, if Nigeria rises, right, at the point where we are 410 million, we will have only 18 million unemployed. Tap your neighbor and say, that's possible. Okay? That if entrepreneurship scales, if those of you in the room take this seriously and say, we are not just going to build businesses to survive, we're going to build businesses that scale and grow. And we, the entrepreneurs, will be part of the employers of labor. See, there's no future, there's not enough jobs in government to employ 410 million people. Forget about it. You know, when we were a smaller nation, in the 1960s, thereabout, it was easy for the government to claim perfect employment because if the government absorbed all the graduates into government, there are a few jobs in the private sector, everybody's employed. But as our population grew, that model became not only impractical, it became a problem. Because everybody that graduates wants to go into politics or government. And that's what led to anomalies. A blessed state like Cross River, somebody will call it a civil servant state. You know, God forbid that thing. You know, you look at a state blessed with factor endowments to compete with any state in Nigeria, and then somebody reduces the whole state to civil servants. And by the way, I love civil servants. My parents were civil servants. So that's not the point I'm making. But you cannot achieve high productivity without putting young people to work. So when we say employability and the gap is that employability requires opportunities, and it is entrepreneurship that creates those opportunities. And if there's no handshake between both of them at a national level, then the issues will persist. Next slide. And of course, that will affect poverty rate. And when you have extremely poor people in our society, the social crisis begins. Let's go forward. Next. I think. No, go back. And of course, if you have employability problems and you have poverty problems, one of the first places it shows is in life expectancy. Okay, currently, average life expectancy between 2016 to date, between 2016 to date, life expectancy has reduced in Nigeria because poverty and unemployment has gone up. And why are we saying this to a younger generation? This systemic gaps requires a fundamental shift. It requires a fundamental shift that says, no matter what I study in school, I will become entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurship is no longer the question of a calling. It's not a personality trait. It's a discipline that you bring into any field if you want that field to expand. Are you hearing me? If you're hearing me, say, I hear you. Every field, if you take medicine without entrepreneurship, the health systems will not grow. If you take law without entrepreneurship, the legal systems will not grow. If you take policy without entrepreneurship, the policy does not work for the market. If you take technology without entrepreneurship, technologies will not scale. If you take agriculture without entrepreneurship, agriculture does not meet more markets, does not become more innovative. So entrepreneurship is an enabling discipline that this generation does not have a choice. So whether you're Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, or Alpha, you have no choice about entrepreneurship. It has moved from something that you call a profession to a way of thinking. Your parents used to tell us, go read the first degree. When you go get a good job, get married and settle down. Entire organized private sector cannot employ more than 10% of the worker age youth in Nigeria. What do you do with the other 90%? So that or finish, and that in the labor market, there was sufficient jobs for all graduates to go and be employed for most young people. And so you go from primary, you go to secondary, you go to university, then you pivot out into the labor market. Then in the labor market, you start to run all over the place, right? By itself will fail. What will make it succeed is that the demand side begins to grow. It is entrepreneurship that grows the demand side. It is entrepreneurship that grows the demand side. And yes, sometimes education does not prepare us for jobs, because the unique skills required for jobs, like many of the mentors, teachers have been teaching and will continue to teach over this career day, proves that employability skills are not naturally captured in our curriculum in university. And that's why the career day exists, to bridge some of that gap. Next slide. Okay, so naturally you have the skills barriers, you have the structural barriers, and you have what we call the support infrastructural barriers. And this is where those of us that are in policy can really help. Those of us that feel a calling to policy or government can make a big difference in using policy to deal with the structural issues. Okay, so there are big issues with how policy coordinates for access to finance, access to regulation. A lot of entrepreneurs, if you ask them what are the 4 biggest issues in Nigeria, they will tell you 1, access to finance, 2, regulatory constraints. You start a business, once your signboard comes up, local government, state government, federal government has no taxing you. I mean, if you ask entrepreneurs what their problems are, the structural barriers are significant, and it's not to downplay them, but to say some of us in the room need to be policy entrepreneurs. We need to say our work in our generation is to remove the structural barriers, to increase access to finance. And some of our brilliant facilitators and speakers here represent those committed to removing the structural barriers. Okay? Now, the skill barrier is what it is. The skill barrier points to the fact that being employable is a science. It's an art, right? Because your skills must match what the market needs to be employable. Right? It means that you identify what the market requires and then develop the competencies to be deployed. Okay? But there's also what is missing, which is what I've spent most of my time this morning discussing, the entrepreneurial mindset. Nigeria needs to pivot from a nation where we import everything to a nation where we ask, how do we leverage all our assets, all our factor endowments, all our opportunities, and move them to more productive goods, services, and solutions that we can sell to our population and the rest of the world. Entrepreneurial mindset requires that you are scanning the environment for what is yours. Next. I've spoken about this. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go on. Okay, this is for you to think about. Let's go on. So, for the policy makers in the room, and there are a few policy makers in the room, or those of you that want to think of policy, some of the younger generation must think of entrepreneurship as a jobs agenda for the future. If we must put 300 million people to work in 2050, the entrepreneurial leaders, and that's why Bridge is not called Bridge. It's not called Bridge Entrepreneurship Foundation. It's called Bridge Leadership Foundation. Because entrepreneurial leaders must begin to think of not just creating businesses and products that make them rich. Must begin to think is that I must become part of the employers of labor. I must become part of putting Nigeria to work. And you don't need to be old to be an employer of labor. And that has been the story you heard yesterday, and the story you will continue to hear throughout today. That an employer of labor does not have to be an old man. That a teenager can be an employer of labor. Are you here? That you don't have to be old to be rich, and that to be rich is not complicated. It's difficult, but it's not complicated. Money is a reward for solving problems. And the size of the problems you solve determines the return. If you solve problems for 100 million people with a product you create, you become a millionaire. So tap your neighbor. Say, neighbor, money is not, money is simple but difficult. Okay? It is a reward for solving problems. And that's the entrepreneurial mindset. That mindset that says, the future. Where Nigeria's problems, Calabar's problems, Cross River's problems are my opportunities. That mindset is very different from the Jackpot mindset. That mindset says everything around me dressed as complexity, dressed as disruption, dressed as problems are my opportunities. And it allows us to rethink what is possible. Next slide. Okay. So there are 5 dimensions of human capital if you want to grow an economy. And the first is, right, countries that do well produce complex products. But complex products comes from knowing how to build them. You have to have the know-how, right? Now, to have the know-how, you must assemble together a collection of entrepreneurial leaders that have the know-how or are committed to what them works. Right. High job elasticity. In other words, young people don't simply want to go to work. They want to go to work in areas where they don't become broke. Because you can be the working poor. In other words, you're working, but it never meets up. So one of the marks of human capital competitiveness is that you create what we call high elasticity jobs. Jobs that lift people out of poverty, that make people wealthy, right? The second imperative in human capital competitiveness is that you must have labor-intensive jobs, because we are not just simply talking about creating jobs for 100 people. No, we must create jobs and create jobs at scale. And then last is that the jobs must support high-quality, affordable, healthcare opportunities, because if the average life expectancy of our population is 48 years old, we will then not live long enough to enjoy those opportunities. Next slide. Next slide. So, you need to build what we call Firmbite. A Firmbite is an enterprise that has found a way to connect social, trust, and financial opportunities or costs to create a product. Okay? But every Firmbite begins, next slide, with something we call person bite. A person bite is your maximum capacity as an individual to contribute to an enterprise. Now, here's the problem. Sometimes an entrepreneur will gather 20 people and they're not bringing any Firmbite because they do not have the employability skills. So you must make a commitment that I will not just be a non. You ask how many heads count among the 2,000 people. Sometimes you only 10 heads. Tell your neighbor, don't just be a head that is counted. Be a head that counts. Because when you're a head that counts, you're a person of value. And a person of value will always find a job. Okay? Next slide. Next slide. This is for your notes. Please, the slides are for the young people, so they need to take them away. Some of the things are my notes for them to think about. Next slide. Yeah, stop there. So here's the dilemma. Most of the sectors where young people want to go work do not have jobs. And most of the sectors where the jobs are, young people don't want to work. So what it does is it creates a productivity gap. Now, the solution is, how do we get entrepreneurs to create more jobs where young people want to work? And how do we get entrepreneurs to create more innovation for productivity where young people don't want to work, but we need those sectors to work? So, for example, I noticed when the former president asked young people to go back to the farm, the protest on social media was epic, we should go back to the farm. No, we want to build the next unicorn. But entrepreneurs can create a connection between the farm and productivity. In many parts of the world, farming has now changed. You're blockchaining land, right? You're using advanced genetic science for high yield crops. You're using AI to predict the weather. You're using bringing high productivity solutions into low productive areas. This is something that Nigeria desperately needs today. How do you move sectors from low productivity to high productivity because of the entrepreneurial intensity? Because this will solve problems for us. Next slide. Next slide. So go back one slide. So in any of these sectors, we could easily have grown 50 million new jobs on the average. Manufacturing, construction, science, technology, creative, digital, education, health services, trade. But here's the problem. These sectors are experiencing low levels of innovation because entrepreneurs are not finding space to create more production and more opportunities, therefore more jobs. Next slide. Okay, so when we discuss reducing poverty, it's not just creating jobs, it's creating quality jobs. And it's entrepreneurs that create quality jobs. Next slide. Between 1999 and 2016, some study we did showed that of 10 jobs created, only 6 lifted people out of poverty. In other words, of the 10 jobs that created, 4 jobs are working poor jobs. Okay? In other words, you created a job, but the job guaranteed that the person stayed in poverty. Okay? Where we need to be, next slide, is we need to, okay, in the next few years, shift to where we create what we call high elasticity jobs. So when you create 10 jobs, you put about 43 people to work. That's possible to Nigeria right now, but it requires entrepreneurial energy. Next slide. Sorry, don't worry, you're going to have the slide. So somebody asked the question, how do you lift 100 million people out of poverty? Simple answer. Fire these sectors with entrepreneurship. Back it up with employability programs, and easily you create, on the average about 10 million jobs, and you lift 52 million people out of poverty, and you can do it in 5 years. So whilst it looks like rocket science, right? It's not rocket science. It's not easy, it's hard, but it's possible. Tell your neighbor it's possible. Okay, so as I close, let me end with this idea. To bridge the gap between employability and entrepreneurship for the young person. Next slide. What we call next horizon has to be an entrepreneurial society. Next slide. Next one. And, Peter Drucker noted that entrepreneurship is neither a science or an art. It's a practice. So a couple of thoughts required to make the shift. Number one, entrepreneurship, next slide. Entrepreneurship is systemic innovation. So you have to identify how entrepreneurship will change and improve value for others. And I think there are a lot of sessions that will speak about this today. Number two, the source of innovation lies in change itself. So you see all these things we are complaining about, COVID, Trump, Buhari, whatever the factors you're worrying about are, the very factors you're worrying about and complaining about are the sources of innovation. We just need to change our mindset to how do we exploit this change to create better products and services, cheaper, faster, better. Okay? So unexpected circumstances like COVID is a source of innovation. Misalignments like, somebody told you to produce cassava. You want to produce cassava, there's no market for cassava. Requires innovation. Process problems, like you find that to move your goods from here, for those of you that are exporting, becomes a headache, provides sources for innovation. All Nigeria's problems, all the disruption, if we approach it with a different mindset, we will see that there is more light at the end of the tunnel than it looks. Like if you look at the problems as an inevitable judgment on the final outcomes. Number 3, all entrepreneurial societies start with the market, not the product. They ask themselves, where's the market? And they use that to determine what to focus on. For years, for 50 years, at least in my lifetime, we were buying refined products, petroleum refined products, for a country that was a market. You know, there's some madness that entrepreneurial mindset cures you from. For as long as I've been alive, we were buying refined products. We produce crude oil here in Nigeria. We send the crude oil overseas, and we will buy refined products for a market that was at home. It's the absence of entrepreneurship that even allows that idea to survive for 50 years. Entrepreneurship will have warned us at the beginning that there is no way. There's no way you will win that. There's no way you will win in a market where you sell a low productivity output as raw materials and you bring it back. And there are 1,000 items. I was with the commissioners of finance and economic planning for the South states this week. And I said to them, there is no state in South Nigeria cannot export something worth $1 billion every year outside of oil. Not one. But we are stuck. This lack of an entrepreneurial mindset that answers, what do we have? Where's the market? Is a gap. And we must close that gap. Number 4, entrepreneurship demands rigorous discipline. Entrepreneurship is not there's something called the romance of entrepreneurship. When you meet a young person, says, I'm an entrepreneur, you know. I'm starting up. I'm in my startup phase. Yeah, I'm in my phase 1 of fundraising. The romance of entrepreneurship is a facade. Let me warn you now. Now, fraud. Entrepreneurship is hard work. It's serious business. And even when you have raised your first round of investments, if you treat it as a romance, you're going to fail. And most young people who got their first big break in terms of an investor went on a spending spree. And now they are back to square one. So one of the lessons we mustn't miss as a society is to not get stuck with the romance. The Chinese are very good at this. The Chinese will never celebrate an investment. Okay? I notice in Nigeria that the entrepreneurs celebrate when investors give them money. The Chinese never spend 1 kobo celebrating investment. They spend the money celebrating the profits. Don't celebrate money you borrowed, money that's not your own. No, you wait now. Come back at harvest time to celebrate how you converted the investor's money into your own and his own. Then you can celebrate. You see a young entrepreneur he's just received his first $10 million. He goes to buy a sports car and says, I've arrived. No, you are foolish. Your arrival has now been delayed for 2 generations. Are you here? So entrepreneurship requires rigorous discipline. And this is something that we miss. So it's not flamboyant. We entrepreneurs can be flamboyant, but it's not flamboyant. It's hard work. But when you have won, you have the permission to be flamboyant. Anyhow, you like it. Number 5, focus on effectiveness, not brilliance. Okay? There's nothing so useless as in doing efficiently what should not have been done at all. We waste resources on the mundane. The people we are copying I want to be Steve Jobs. I want to be Mark Zuckerberg. When Mark Zuckerberg started his business, those boys, they packed themselves dormitory style. One apartment, 40 of them in one room. The living room was the work hub, working day and night till the product wins. Then a young man who has just received his first investment money. He has moved to Banana Island. God has done it. And that's the problem. The arrival mentality is a problem. So focus on effectiveness as an entrepreneur until you can guarantee that you can pay back your investors and run your business with the principal from the profitability. You are not yet on your way. Please, don't let people carry you into frivolities. Next, number 6, entrepreneurship requires constant learning. You will never graduate from the entrepreneurship school, which is the great thing about it, right? Entrepreneurship makes feedback loops and learning continuous. So this is not a journey you start and say, I have finished learning it. Ask all the entrepreneurs sitting in front whether they're finished. They will all tell you, we are just getting started. So commit yourself to lifelong learning. If you are selling a product, be the master of the product. When I ask you, how much does that product sell anywhere in the country, you should know. How is it distributed anywhere in Nigeria? You should know. What are the factors that contribute to making the product? You should know. Who are your major competitors? You should know. How are you planning to beat your competitors? You should know. Where is the product innovation of that product going in the next 5, 10, 20 years? You should know. You should be constantly learning. You should be the master of your product. When they discuss your product, even if a PhD is brought from university, when he enters your presence, he should accept that he's in the presence of the master. Are you here? And it does not require anything but your commitment to constant learning. Number 6 or number 7, social impact. For Nigeria and Africa, please listen to me. For Nigeria and Africa, I don't know how it applies elsewhere in the world. Entrepreneurship, more no, you can have your 5 minutes of Insta blog fame. But ultimately, in Africa and in Nigeria, those of us that will be remembered will be those that built enterprises that lifted society, that made a difference in people's lives. They will be remembered. You can mark my word. Come back in 2050. Let's discuss it. When those of you are 40, you will see that those that premised entrepreneurship on just make rich schemes will be gone. And something else will take its place. Number 8, avoid the myth of lone geniuses. You know, we have this thing that an entrepreneur is a loner, is on his own, inside trying to create a product. It's a lie, it's not true. Okay? Entrepreneurship requires an ecosystem of support. Look for support. Come to this kind of ecosystem grows. Are you here? How many millionaires arriving next year will be contributing to this conference rather than coming alone? Let me see your hands. Okay, that's fantastic. That's the way it should happen. A point should come where it should not be about founder or about Auntie Ini. No, you should be the ones shaping the agenda. saying this thing that transformed our lives, we will build it into an ecosystem that transforms Cross River State. And then we Cross Riverians will take Nigeria and Africa on. Are you here? If you hear me, say I hear you. So employability equals entrepreneurship. Next. Okay? So employability requires entrepreneuriality next. And entrepreneurship is a pathway to a life of employability. When you become a real entrepreneur, you will never have an employability problem. Whether you are in the organization or out, what we call intrapreneur or extrapreneur, you will be a person of value. Are you here? Next. So the skills of entrepreneurs ultimately, by leveraging and building them, guarantees employability skills. So what do I need to be a person of value? One small book written by Carnegie. I don't even know whether the book still exists. It's called A Value. Small booklet, 10 pages. I crammed it as an undergraduate. Said, this thing, I will become it. Arrive early, leave late, always ask your superiors, how can I help? Okay, do it right the first time, every time. Those principles worked everywhere I walked. The employers will be begging when I'm going. Because whilst I didn't have my own enterprise, the mindset I took into their own was the mindset of an entrepreneur. So I was inside the organization. It's called intrapreneur. You're inside another person's business, behaving as if it's your own. You're learning the business, not as if, so you hear young people now say, now my papa business. If you don't treat it like your papa, you will never have your own. If you don't treat it like your papa business, your own is not guaranteed. And if I give you your own, you will fail at it. Use other people's businesses to learn. Every job I had as a young person, I'll learn everything so that if the man that owns the business is not there, under my watch, it cannot fail. So entrepreneurial skills guarantee if you're innovating in another man's business, your ability to provide fresh value to your company is there. If you are customer focused, then, hey, you can understand stakeholder needs, you can add value. So ultimately, it is the entrepreneurial advantage that gives employability its staying power. A few thoughts for institutions. Number 12, what's the responsibility of institutions? Government, university, the responsibility is simple. Teach entrepreneurial thinking. This mindset that we have taught where our youths feel entitled. As a teenager, I worked in the Niger Delta. Between 19 and 25, I was here as a scholar of peace across most of the Niger Delta. Straight out of seminary, before I went to university. And one of the shocking things about how leaders had created a mindset is everyone felt entitled. Everyone. What government will do for me, what society will do for me. And therefore, few young people wanted to lift themselves by themselves. That must change. Because the truth is, I keep saying this crude oil, if you share crude revenue, we are still a poor country. Yes. If you take let's even say we're earning $100 billion a year. Okay, take it and share it by 200 million Nigerians. What is that each? Huh? How many are we getting? Well, let's do the maths. You divide 100 billion by 200 million, what do you get? Students, no number. I thought from here now, somebody will give me a number. What do you get? Huh? $500. $500 each a year. So there is no, yes, a year. So there is no, that cannot be our future. Entitlement to oil cannot be our future. If we share it equally, it goes nowhere. What goes far is that we give our young people a thinking that says we cannot be stopped. We will transform our assets into opportunities. We'll transform ourselves by education and training into an unstoppable force of global solutions production, so that when the world is looking for an answer to anything, they come here. Lastly, entrepreneurship is an ethical mandate, right? The ultimate source of economic development is people. People, it's people, not raw materials, not oil, not gas, people. It's people that develop an economy. And entrepreneurs are the backbone on which socio-economic transformation happens. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, plans are only good intentions unless they immediately degenerate into hard work. Bridging the gap between youth entrepreneurship and employability requires that all the young people represented, all the young leaders represented here get to work. It's hard work. Trap that Nigeria has nothing to offer you. You yourself will make a difference, and the world will come and watch the wonder that you become. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Excellency, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for Dr. Tayo Aduloju. We can be seated. I told you it was going to be more than a keynote. I told you it was going to be more than a keynote. Have we learned something today? Have we? Are we sure? Okay, so we're going to do something, right? How many of us have notepads here? Let me see your hands up. If you have a notepad here. So there's some people here that didn't come with writing pads. You don't have. Have mine, you know, there are a few things that he said, and I told you it was going to be a pathway more than a keynote, right? And when he speaks about rigorous discipline, it's there, it's very important, right? And I know that a lot of people talk about entrepreneurship and they say, I'm not a very good businessman, I work for people, but we've learned today that it's not one or the other, right? You need both skills to do better, right? And how he linked them today, beautiful. So one more time, please put your hands together for Dr. Tayo Aduloju. Last year, we had the Lighthouse Productions do a play. If you know them, make some noise. Come on. Uh-huh. Now, for those that don't know the Lighthouse Productions, we're going to introduce them to you today. They are a group of young people that do everything that has to do with the arts. So they incorporate everything in their performance, right? I'm talking music, spoken word, drama, and all of that good stuff. I'm saying this to say that you should just get prepped because we're going to be blown away, right? If we're ready for that performance, please put your hands together and celebrate as we invite the Lighthouse Productions for a short play.
Wanna make love on the moon, dancing to my tunes. Easy too much, it's not too much. I wanna be on Forbes list, if wishes were horses. Easy too much, it's not too much. If I want money, me, I do want dance, I got to say. If I want money, me, I'ma buy my shoto, I'ma buy my foya, I'ma buy me. Yeah, yeah. I wanna be a billionaire, billionaire, yeah, yeah. I wanna be a billionaire, billionaire, yeah, yeah. Yala, yeah, anybody, anybody, yeah. I wanna be a billionaire, billionaire, yeah, yeah. I wanna be a billionaire, billionaire, yeah, yeah.
You know this style now. Galas. Sharp.
Wala.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, Baba, well done. Our customer.
I'm fine. I need to do a clean shave. Okay, so once you're done, just let me know, yeah? Sure.
Which one?
Yes, okay.
Keep your hair fine, make I barb you something.
Guy, I know we've handled my head. Which kind of nonsense be that one? For small galas, what I want bab.
How much will you pay me? Huh? How much will you pay me? For someone 1,000. Only 1,000 what will make? I don't tire for this one. I know they do this one to the kid. Beg.
Olga, I don't understand. Is it not baffling enough that you have a handwork, you have a skill, yet every time I come to your show, you're always complaining that you don't want to do the work again, you don't want to do... Are you not, don't you think that it is because of the way you look? You look like a poor example of a barber. You don't look well. Possibly if you have an apron, package yourself, rebrand yourself, then you have better customers.
Oh.
And stop complaining. I know lots of people that barb and they make millions of naira from barbing. Yes.
Millions of naira for this one. Who did?
Yes. But
Listen to him, my
I
son.
don't understand.
Listen to the wisdom he's giving you. Eh? Do you know this Nigeria-Morocco match? You want to leave this 1,000 now you're getting. Do you know if you had invested in that first half, that they were losing 2-0? Do you know that the odds reached about 200 odds?
Oga, wait.
You would have become a billionaire by this weekend.
Oga, excuse me.
Do you know?
Did you
Don't
just
play.
Did you just concur with me to talk about betting?
Yes?
Betting!
I don't understand.
Really?
Have you not read in your Bible? Where did Jesus come from?
Bethlehem.
Bethlehem.
Child.
All good things. See,
Came from
Betty
Bethlehem.
will make your life better. Can't you look at
Good child.
You be like, say, I go come enter this.
my phone? When you are done,
I beg. Me, I don't already see my new horizon finish. My own new horizon, they shine. See, nobody wants to start from small again. See how this one now. I start from the bottom. My madam I suffer. Before now, I have 3 shops. See that in Yedo hair where she put for Instagram. Na me do am. I continue. My new horizon go dey shine. My only problem now that sales girl where I put for the shop. I've suffered. The day where her mama come carry her key for his place. They say she don't fail jam 4 times. He fail Neko 6 times. He go GSS, they say get out of our sight. I am tired. I put her here and see. Welcome.
Good morning, no.
Good morning.
Why are you looking at me like that?
What time are you supposed to be here? Why are you late?
I had something doing.
She had something doing.
Don't mind them. That's how they always are. Do you know that girl that her mother practically begged me to take her in? Guess what?
That girl, eh?
She's pregnant. And guess who? One stupid street boy in my area.
Okay.
So you see.
I do always funny. I don't.
You are doing Yahoo!
take it easy. Do you want to give me a heart attack? Why are you jittery? Take it easy.
Wait. I'm curious. How much are you making from this Yahoo again?
And who are you to judge me?
I am a very practical business person. How much do you make from Yahoo?
Cash out a lot. Like I've cashed out 6 times.
Put a value to it.
You sum it up, it's equivalent to like 12,220.
Dollars?
12,220 naira.
12,000.
They gave you 20 naira that cannot even buy airtime. You cannot buy airtime with the 20 naira.
It's a start.
Wait. Why is this 12,220 naira?
You know, as the clients dropped, so you know these days we don't put it in our account.
It's true.
So I gave it to my girlfriend to hold for me.
Mumu, make them call me Mumu. I don't need sense to love, oh. Your love makes me a happy Mumu. I am Mumu. Make them call me Mumu. I don't need sense to love, oh. Your love makes me a happy Mumu.
You are a Mumu! Don't Mumu me! Youth of this generation, I do not understand your mentality.
What mentality, daddy?
What is it? She they confirm.
Say something, I'm giving up on you.
Hold me.
I'll be the one if you want me to.
I don't now. Put me on. Me as I dey like this, I want to experience new horizons.
So
like
your
this.
new horizon is to cash out 12,220
I said it's
naira.
a start.
You always have something to say. She's mad.
I give up.
Let me roast you. Give me your clipper, I beg.
I need to call
I
my
go baba
man.
your head.
Not like I was doing something yet.
I will use this thing on you. Come on, get out. Children of nowadays.
That's why I like Ronaldo. Eh? Ronaldo is, I love the man's energy. He's my role model. Such passion.
Oga, please. I'm now curious. How old are you?
What does that have to do with anything?
Just say it. How old are you?
Age is a number.
How many is the number? How many is it? How old are you?
Well, if you must know, I'll be 61 next week.
Ronaldo now 40 years old.
Oga, you are 61. A child is your role model.
We have to learn from the young people. Do you understand? My son taught me how to bet.
Sharp.
And my life is better now.
Just like Bethlehem.
Oh, Jesus.
Good evening, ma.
Well done.
Happy New Month.
You too.
As I was passing, I saw sales girls wanted. So I say, let me come and look for work. I don't suffer.
Okay, sure you see a sales girl did that too.
You saw sales there.
You calm down now.
It's sales girls that I saw. So, ma, what a woman can do. No, what a woman can do, a full package man can do. Ma, I don't to suffer.
Bros. Real voice.
No, this is my real voice.
Oga.
This is my hustling voice. I use this to make it, ma. You don't see my hand? As I be make it, ma. Ma, you are doing rubbish. Look at what you are doing. Let me show you something. Wait.
What is this with these small children? You don't even correcting me. Nah.
Ma, fine, give me work. Even not to sweep, ma, just sweep.
I don't know. I feel like I could go ask my pastor. I know.
Oga, I sabi babu. Oga, I sabi babu.
You know, listening to all of this,
Come on.
I'm disheveled. Oga Baba, let me start with you. You have a skill. Do you know that with this your skill, you can have multi-streams of income? You can employ people, and by you, job creations will come. You can open different branches, and before you know it, you have a generation of people that are gaining from you. Yet you want to earn 12,220 naira. And you, Yahoo, why don't you learn a skill or two? I don't know if you have one, but I think you should pick up a skill. If you learn a skill, say maybe you are a mechanic, or you are a barber, or whatever, you can get money from these things.
So this thing one learn no be skill. For 2 years for HK.
2 years, 200. Okay, see, learn a skill. You would make practically 5 or 6 times more than what you are earning. And you're 61 years old. I don't know if you have a skill, but if you can take Ronaldo as your role model, you can learn a skill.
I will not take this insult from
It's not too late. You can learn a skill. All I'm saying is rise up. Leave all these things that do not profit or do not even promise a long line of income. Get something to do. Get new horizons. Check new things you can do that will not just profit you alone, but a generation to come. As for me, I will not be infected by this toxic energy around. I'm gone.
Do you know I train children with this betting?
With betting.
I train them.
I'm sorry for
that.
You will come patronize me.
I'm not coming. Leave me out. No.
You better wear wash. You better wear wash on your leg to wash your steps.
Very toxic.
Madam, you don't hear what they talk. They say make them find work.
Won't go my other shop.
Find work.
This I need to call my pastor.
Oga,
I be no dedicate this shop where that is. It's in the app.
They like say this thing don't work again.
How much? Out of 12, 120. Oh, 1,000.
Okay, how much remain now?
Father.
And another one bites the dust. Why can I not conquer love? And I might have done we were.
This was without weapons, and I wanted it bad. But there were so many red flags.
And another one bites the dust. Oh, let's be clear, I'll trust no one. You did not break me. I'm still fighting for peace. I'm cutting skin and elastic cords.
But your blade might just be too sharp. I'm like a rubber band. Don't go to but you say you would see me for
I'm caught an elastic heart.
elastic heart, elastic heart, elastic heart.
I'm caught an
elastic heart, elastic heart, elastic heart, elastic heart, elastic heart.
If you were thrilled, let's hear it. Put your hands together for the Lighthouse. The Lighthouse production. Amazing. Amazing. Beautiful stuff. Are we having a good time? What's your energy like? One word. What's your energy level like? Just one word. Let's hear you. Okay. So let's do it batches. Let's do it in batches. What's your energy level like? Let me hear you. Okay. This row, what's your energy level like? How about this row? What's your energy level like? It doesn't have to be a chorus answer. So just say what's in your mind. One word. Let's hear you. What's your energy level like? How about this side? What's your energy level like? But there's one major word I'm hearing. I hear a lot of active. So everybody's active, Abi? Amazing. Beautiful stuff. Put your hands together for yourselves, yeah? I hope that we're putting out social media posts. We're putting out stuff on our X. If you're tweeting nuggets. If you're taking pictures with the hashtag Career Day 2025, ensure that you do so because, as I mentioned earlier, there just might be a surprise for some people that are engaging. So please engage with us. Follow us on socials at TBL Foundation _ for Instagram, at TBL Foundation for X, the Bridge Leadership Foundation for Facebook and YouTube, LinkedIn, and the rest of them. And tell your friends that couldn't be here that we're streaming live on YouTube and they can watch, right? And join us. No one should miss out all the good things that's coming out today. We're about to get into our first panel discussion. And, once upon a time, where she also serves as head of programs while contributing in other strategic roles across the station. She's a fellow in media epidemiology, infodemic management, and social behavior change communication, and certified as a health frontline communicator by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, the Africa Field Epidemiology Network, AFINET, and USAID. Vanessa is also a DPI fellow of the Media Foundation for West Africa and co-develop. And currently she's advancing her expertise in strategic communication through the MTN Nigeria Media Innovation Program at the School of Media and Communication, Pan Atlantic University. Please put your hands together. Give her a warm welcome as I invite Vanessa Ukamaka Richard Bassi. Joining Vanessa on this panel, we have three amazing gentlemen. We're going to start with Olamide Adeyeye, who's the head of programs at Jobberman. He's also the deputy head of impact partnerships at the African Talent Company. Dual role, he leads programs and partnerships that use inequality and promote youth economic transition across Africa. Close to a decade of experience, he led the design, implementation, and evaluation of initiatives focused on youth development, civic participation, and gender inclusion. He's also a fellow of the Carrington Youth Fellowship Initiative and a 2019 ambassador of the Better Tomorrow movement from Sri Lanka. Please put your hands together for Olamide Adeyeye as he joins Vanessa. Joining them is Olumide Adeleye, who is the founder of TWIM Institute, a visionary educator, digital transformation consultant, and social entrepreneur with over 20 years experience across information systems, business analysis, product management, and e-learning development. He's an accredited trainer for the British Computer Society, specializes in business analysis. He has an MBA from the University of Sao Paulo, Brazil, an MSc in Smart EdTech from the University of Côte d'Azur in France, and currently pursuing a PhD in computer science at the University of Eastern Finland. Please put your hands together for Olumide Adeleye. And then we have joining them for this panel conversation, David Ogunshola, also known as the Innovation Catalyst, a transformative entrepreneur driven by a vision to lower the age of innovators in Africa. He's a founder of Early Founders Lab, a coding and startup school for children, co-founder of Brainy Hive School, a leading K-12 school in Uyo, and also the founder of Dave Shop Inc., a software, AI, and future tech consulting company. He's also the author of Early Coding for Kids, the teacher, strategist, author, and coach. Please put your hands together for David Ogunshola. And once again, get your pens out, get your notes out, and get to learn. Over to you, Vanessa.
Good morning, everyone. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a time where the rules of the workplace have changed faster than we thought they will. A few years ago, no one thought that AI could write full essays, design graphics, and even analyze data in split seconds. But this is where we are. Before now, remote jobs used to sound like a privilege. But today, you can stay in the comfort of your home here in Calabar or any part of Cross River State and work with organizations and companies in the UK, in Canada, in any part of the world. And every year, we see new career paths emerge in industries that did not even exist a decade ago. Now, these career roles span across data scientists. Our keynote speaker talked about policy entrepreneur. We also have social media managers. They're a big one now. And several other roles that our parents never imagined would ever exist. But the big questions are, what do you need as a young person, a Nigerian youth, a young professional, a mid-career professional, to actually thrive in this future of work, to be relevant? And today we have a panel of seasoned experts who will be doing justice to that. They will explore the changes that we're seeing and will also offer practical insight on how we can navigate in this future of work. And bear in mind, the future is not tomorrow, the future is here and now. Okay, my panelists will take turns to present thought pieces, after which we'll interact with the questions that we have, and we'll let you, as the audience, also ask your question. I would start with Olamide. Olamide, over to you.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. It's afternoon now. Good afternoon, everyone. Your Excellency, thank you so much for this opportunity to share. Again, I think that Dr. Tayo has sort of taken us to the end, right? And also brought us to the beginning. And, you know, many of the things that he shared puts all of what we need to do as young people into perspective, particularly from a 2050, you know, lens, and seeing how we need to grow as a country as well as a nation. And one of the first things to mention this afternoon is how that the world of work has become more globalized than it was in the last decades. There was a research I did in 2020 into 2021, and it was really around making secondary education work. And one of the learning from that journey is that Nigeria's tertiary education system only has the capacity to absorb 25% of young people leaving secondary school. It's part of the reasons why we have the UTME examination, for example. And what that does, or what that shows to us, is that while definitely opportunities abound, the number of people trying to access such opportunities are limited, particularly within a geographical confine. But what 2020 has done for us is that it has opened and taken away the barriers and the borders of the world, such that you have young people, across the world engage with other young people across the world. Many thanks to what we have seen with social media and all of the interactions that we have. Now, why is that important? It's important because while you and I may sit in a room in Calabar, Cross River State, the reality of the value that we are expected to bring into the world of work is not just a competition with 1,000 or 2,000 people in this room, or millions of young people in Calabar, or even the over 100 million young people across Nigeria, but it's a global competition. Right. Now, what that does is that it opens your mind to the recognition of the fact that while the opportunities have become global, the competition as well is global. So, over the next 5 years, there are key factors that will shape how these opportunities, are created. Dr. Tayo already mentioned how that there are challenges, and our focus this morning or afternoon is not really about the challenges, but really about the opportunities, because that's, where the promise. And with every challenge, right, we can flip it to see the opportunities there, particularly if we approach it with innovation. The first is obviously how that the world is significantly, or nations of the world are beginning to look inward, right? You're familiar with what is happening with the US, in the UK, a lot of, even in Nigeria, for example, there is a Nigeria First policy now, right? Where countries of the world are beginning to say, how do we prioritize what we have internally? And that is definitely shaping the world of work, because it basically means that there is a look into, local or indigenous human resource and opportunities locally. But what that also does is that it's also beginning to shift the way business operations are organized. And BPOs, IPOs, by BPOs I mean business process outsourcing, ITOs and other business structures are beginning to go on the rise, where organizations who want to have global footprints, particularly tapping into the African markets, Nigeria being the giant of that market, are beginning to think of how they can set up business structures that, while they retain, the value from a global perspective, they can also deliver the service locally. And that is growing significantly. The second thing is that is shaping the labor market dynamics is also the demographics shift. So while Dr. Tayo helped us to see that in 2050, our population as a country will be 410 million, right? And 67% of that age will be under 35. But let me even have to say that at that point, it is predicted that Nigeria will be the third most populous country in the world. So it means that, and now while that is happening on our end, with other countries of the world, Europe and America's population is significantly aging. And so, while definitely globally, the population is growing generally, there is going demographic dividends of our country as well as of our continent, that we have a huge potential to become the global talent hub of the world going into 2050. The third thing is also climate change, and I think a lot has been said about that, but it's just about how that there are a lot of energy conversations that are happening, and it's requiring that there are new ways of doing things, and that is informing, or that is requiring new kind of skills and engagement within the workspace. The fourth thing that will significantly shift the way labor market structures are globally, definitely affecting Nigeria significantly, is socioeconomic realities. Now, with social media, there's a shift in aspiration. So for example, with COVID, we've seen how that a lot of the culture, we really appreciate what logistics was until COVID happened, when we had to order things. And there is a significant, massive shift happening around that, both in the service delivery, service, expectation, and even the quality of engagement that is. And a lot of work opportunities will be created in that area, and also a lot of work opportunities will be disrupted. And then the final thing, which is why we're here, which is one of the things we're talking about, AI and technological advancement. And we are seeing how that with AI, even as simple as generative AI to agentive AI and to all of the other levels and layers of that into machine learning and all of the the complications that it comes with, is also significantly disrupting our labor market. To wrap this up very quickly, what this also says is that in the next 5 years, 40% of the skills that everyone in this room has now will be outdated. If you are currently performing at 100%, you're smart, you're adding value to your organization, or you think maybe you even have a first-class degree, in the next 5 years, 40% of that will be useless. That means that the world, and that 40%, I would say, is even more than that. Because even these factors that I spoke about have significantly shifted in the last 6 months. So what I'm saying in essence is there is a need to reskill, there's a need to retool, there's a need to consistently reinvent yourself to remain relevant in the now and in the future of work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olamide. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you. Over to you, Olumide.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you. So thank you very much, Your Excellency. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for the kind hospitality. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very grateful. Thank you, Mrs. Abimbola and the members of the to the bridge. Thank you so much. Okay, great. So I'd like to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, what if you got a call today from someone like Mark Zuckerberg? What if he calls you and he says, that job you've been waiting for, I have it for you. What will you do? And he's promising you maybe the biggest salary of your dreams and all of that. Well, what would you do if you were to get the opportunity you've always been waiting for? In 2018, something like that happened to me. I got an email. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't apply. I didn't mention anything. I didn't speak to anybody. I just got an email from an organization known as Concordia. And they invited me to speak at the Concordia Annual Summit in New York. Now, they mentioned in that email that the Concordia Annual Summit was the biggest non-partisan event taking place at the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. And then they said that year they were expecting like 18 heads of state. And then they told me, they had hosted Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, President this, President that, and that they wanted me to be their honored guest and distinguished speaker or something like that. You know, when I saw the email, I said, okay, this must be my village people. You know, it must be that they want to scam me, but I'm a Niger guy. They cannot scam me. But you know what? I checked them out online. Apparently it was legit. So I went over to New York. And being a speaker, I had an all-access pass. So I could talk to people. I could move around. I went the first day of the event. It was a 2-day event. I was speaking on day 2. And by the time I started talking to people, so that that I did not have the qualifications to be in that room. Yes, I understood youth employment in Africa, which was why they invited me. But if you took that out, I did not have what it took to join the people in that room. I didn't have the expertise, I didn't have the education, I didn't have the connections. So I became very afraid. I said, God, you bring me here to embarrass me. Because I was afraid. All of a sudden, I didn't know what I was going to say anymore. Thankfully, you know, day 2, God gave me ideas. I was able to talk, had a great session, got a good ovation, got invited to speak in London the next year. But when I got back home, I sat down and I began to think. And I did something that I want to advocate to all of you today. It is called a gap analysis. What did I call it? Gap analysis. In business analysis, I teach IT business analysis and product management and stuff like that. In business analysis, a gap analysis is something you do to transition an organization to like a desired future. But this time, I had to do it as an individual, not as an organization. And I want you to do it. So I've broken it down to 3 very simple steps that you can follow. Step number 1 is called the current state. What did I call it? The current state. Current state. Current state means where are you now? Where are you right now? And you need to look at that question holistically. For me, I sat down in 2018 and I asked myself, Olumide, where are you? In terms of your education, where are you? Let me tell you a secret. 2018, I was a graduate of the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. I had graduated for like 10 years already, but that was all I had to my name. I graduated with a second-class lower. I hated the course I studied, agricultural economics. In me. Now, how many people here have been jammed by JAMB? As at 2018, if you had asked me that, Olumide, what did you study? I would have told you the story of how JAMB jammed me. How many of you are carrying those stories till now? That was what I was doing then. Now, I was an entrepreneur. I had a lot of awards to my name. I mean, for Concordia to have invited me, I wasn't doing badly. But I was carrying baggage. I was in a current state that was not good. So that is the current state. Now, you have to do that. Look at your education, look at your skills, look at everything about you. So current state. Number 2 is you look at your target state or your future state. So what did I call it? Target state or future state. What does that mean? It means that give yourself a goal. Yourself 5 years from now. Where do I want to be? And then you look at all of the elements that you considered for your current state, and you begin to consider them for your future state. So where do you want to be? So I looked at myself. I said, Olumide, when you walked into that room, you felt good. That is the kind of life you want. Like in my session, I walked in, President Obasanjo walked in, both of us were wearing agbada, and then, former Assistant U.S. Assistant Secretary of State came in, and, I loved being able to interact with all those people. And I said, Olumide, that is the kind of life you want for yourself. So I had a future state, right? But that future state, I looked at it in terms of my education. I said, for you to attain that future state, you cannot keep carrying the baggage of second class lower, University of Agriculture, Agri-Economics that you never liked. By the way, the problem is not Agri-Economics or University of Agriculture. The problem is that was not me. That was not my course. That was never what I wanted to do. Do you understand? So I told myself, I said, Olumide, for where you are going, you need global education. You need to make certain decisions and take certain steps. So I wrote them down. I needed global education. I needed an advanced degree. And I needed certain skills. I wrote all of them. So that was step number 2. Now, you know what step number 3 is? Find the gap. Turn to your neighbor and say, find the gap. That is number 3. Number 3 means that you compare number 1 and number 2. Your current state and your future state. And then you now start looking, okay, for education, what is missing? I am here, but I want to go here. So what is missing is I don't have a degree, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. And this applies to anybody, even if you're in secondary school. You can always evaluate. So I found the gap. For me, the gap was I needed to go back to school. I needed to learn certain skills. I needed to make certain changes to my business. So you know what I did? I did number 4. Number 4 is that fix the gap. Turn to your neighbor and say, fix the gap. Please turn to another neighbor and say, fix the gap. So I fixed the gap. How did I fix the gap? I started small. I went to the National Open University of Nigeria because I was busy. I was a businessman. I was running a business that took my time. But I knew I needed to advance. So I went to Open University. I did a postgraduate diploma because I wanted to first get back into the world of education. So I did that course. I had a good GP. That gave me confidence. While I was doing that, I suddenly saw something online about an MBA from the University of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And they were offering scholarships. So I applied. Let me tell you a secret. You cannot find what you are not looking for. It is when you have written all these things down that you start seeing what is missing and you start knowing what you are looking for. Because you know what you are looking for in life. So they gave me the scholarship. I started that program. Luckily, it was online. I could have gone for my final defense, but I chose not to. While I was doing that, I saw another thing online. A university in France had this particular master's that I wanted. Now, remember that I studied what? agri-economics. But I was a person in tech. I wanted a master's in tech. I had no formal degree in tech. And then I saw this particular one. And they said, write a motivation statement. Do this, do that. And I did everything. And then they invited me to Campus France, in Lagos. And I went there, and I talked to them, and I told them everything I had done with my life. And then they said, okay, this is good. They gave me the admission, blah, blah, blah. And then I went to France. I did the master's. I graduated with, they call it mention très bien. Forgive my French, I don't speak French. Anyway, it means with highest honors. And then after that, I saw an opportunity for a PhD, University of Eastern Finland, at the School of Computing, which is what I'm doing now. So suddenly, I'm doing a PhD in computer science from a 2-2 in agri-economics. How does that happen? I'm almost done. How does that happen? Number 1, current state. Number 2, target state. Number 3, what is the gap? Number 4, fix the gap. You know what the Bible says? The effectual fervent prayer, the righteous man avails much. It does not say the prayer. It does not say the prayer they have prayed many times. It is not how long you pray. It is not how much you wish. It is when you begin to take steps that back you up, show you opportunities, and bring things your way. So that 5 years later, you would have reached that state, and then you are ready for the opportunities God has for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olumide. A mighty round of applause. Thank you. You can't find what you are not looking for. Thank you very much. That was a punchline there for me. Over to you, David.
So should we end the panel?
There's still a lot to be said.
All right. Thank you, Olumide, for that. I mean, I think he just gives me the landing point from where to start. Because he talked about current state, future state, talk about the gap. Now, when you're trying to think of your future state, you need to understand where the world is going so that you can actually know where you need to be. Our world has always been changing. It didn't just start changing. It has always been changing. And whenever the world changes, this is what happens. The skills that you need to survive in the world changes. We had the age of agriculture. All you needed to survive in the agriculture age was labor. You have energy, you can farm, you can pursue cows, you will succeed. Then the world transitioned to the industrial age, where we now needed skilled labor. So to work in factories, you now needed organized skill. In the agricultural age, you didn't need to go to school to be able to succeed. But in the industrial age, education became a requirement. So your labor that was not skilled didn't guarantee your success. Then the world transitioned to the information age, where the internet came. And suddenly, even the skilled labor you have now needed an addition on top. You need to understand the internet, computers, technology, and see what happens. These transitions don't render professions useless, but they change the requirement for success in these careers. Doctors never stopped being doctors. Lawyers never stopped being lawyers. Teachers never stopped being teachers. But in the internet age, the doctor, the lawyer, the teacher who didn't understand technology became second class. The one left him behind. Now, we are in another transition driven by artificial intelligence. And what is happening now is this. The requirements for success in any career you choose is changing again. So, you need to understand that we are saying AI, you know, there's a paranoid, there's a fear that it comes with that, hey, you'll be obsolete, your jobs will go. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Whatever technology does, human beings are going nowhere. And because human beings are going nowhere, the operations and activities of human beings will never go obsolete. People will still go to court. So we'll need lawyers. People will fall sick. So we'll need drugs. People will need to go to school. So there will be need for teachers. People will still buy and sell. You will need marketers, accountants, all of those things. But what is happening now is that the requirement to function in those spaces have changed. You could have been a good lawyer, doctor, teacher, marketer, whatever. But because the world has changed, if you don't change with the world, something is going to do you. You just wake up one day and realize that the world has left you behind. Now, this is what is going on. The implication of this is twofold for organizations and for individuals. Now, I'm not going to talk to organizations. If you are a business owner, founder, CEO, you lead an organization, I'm going to refer you to something. Go online, look for Work Trend Index Report 2025 by Microsoft. If you run an organization, you need to read that report. It has damning consequences that can take you out in 12 to 18 months. I mean, if you run a business, foresight is not a luxury. It's a requirement for success. You need to be able to see the future before it comes. If you wait for change to become obvious before you respond, you'll be obsolete. But for those who are individuals, you either work or thinking of working or trying to find your place in the future of work, the future of work has only spaces for 4 kinds of people. If you are not one of these 4, you will suddenly realize that the world has left you behind. And this is because what AI is doing, basically, for those of you who don't understand, AI is this. We have built machines that are super intelligent and have made them available and accessible to anybody on demand and on tap. So, the first set of people that can survive in the future of work are humans with intelligent assistants. Guys, your natural intelligence is no longer sufficient to compete in the world because everybody has an additional intelligence that is smarter, faster than you are. So the definition of competition has changed and the definition of competence has changed. The age where you say, I don't know how to do it, has passed. You know that young people say, how do I go about it? That nonsense has ended. You don't have the opportunity to say, I don't know how to do it, because there is super intelligence available to you on demand. The first set of people that can survive, and that's like level 1, humans who have AI or intelligent assistants. The next level of people who are going to do better than level 1 are those who understand the evolution of AI. We saw AI go from normal AI that used to give us auto-complete sentences, and then we saw generative AI, ChatGPT and co. Then we've gone to agentic AI, AI that can take decisions and can run operations on its own. And that's not even the end. We're going to go to physical AI. The next evolution is that after agentic AI, we'll combine AI and physics. So we can actually buy, the way we all own phones, we'll soon start owning robots. But we're not there yet. Right now, we're on agentic AI. If you are not yet using agentic artificial intelligence, if ChatGPT is still all you know, the world has almost left you behind. Understand that there is evolution to this thing. Technology is so fluid and the pace of change is so fast right now. So people who understand agentic AI, you can 10x your productivity almost instantly. Then the third level of people are what we call agent bosses. This is a word. Google it, agent boss. Because right now, if that Microsoft report, the Global Work Trend Index says this is the year of the frontier firm. Companies are now being hybrid between human beings and machines. The kind of people that will run in those companies are people who understand how to build, automate AI and manage AI teams. I mean, intelligent teams of non-humans. Just Google the word AI. Intelligence and combine it with human creativity, emotion, and vision. These are the guys that will start businesses that can become David and Goliath. As I told you, the definition of competition has changed. Right now, with all these agents back and forth, you can run a one-man solo business and you can take out a corporation. You can have 3 people running companies that used to take 30 to 50 people to run before. I mean, go and check it out. Individuals are running one-man shows with agents and are going to millions of dollars in revenue without a physical person. What that means, guys, is this. Your skill stack. That's why I say I'm going to build on what Olumide said. You need to ask yourself, right now, the number 1 in-demand skill in the world is AI literacy. If you don't have AI literacy, you are not employable. Any company that employs you with natural intelligence alone, that company will soon shut down because very soon they too will be out of business. No company can compete without super intelligence. Have you seen what Facebook is doing? The kind of guys Mark Zuckerberg is hiring. What's he building? Meta super intelligence labs. That's the word now. We have access to intelligence that humans could not fathom. And so people who understand that, you can now take problems in education, in transportation, in whatever, combined with super intelligence. That's level 4. They are the new entrepreneurs who are going to create the new future. So wherever you are, you must be one of these 4. If you're not one of the 4, you're still thinking, well, I have first class in computer science. Sorry. I'm not talking of 10 years. In the next 12 months, you may struggle to find relevance in the world.
A round of applause, please. A round of applause. Thank you very much, David. Thank you, Olamide. Thank you, Olumide. Thank you, David. Now, we get into the session where I ask questions based on the foundations they've laid. And I want you to get out your paper and your pen. If you have questions, Please write them down, and a time will come when we'll receive all of your questions. Now, Olamide, you talked about the opportunities that present itself, and I know that you were a talent manager. Let's look at the skills that will match these opportunities you've mentioned. Please help us with them.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Please help us break it down.
Okay. So when I say sector agnostic, I mean across all job functions or any function. Is that people are looking for people who can think.
People who can think.
Yes. Thinking is so. It sounds very common, but somebody said common sense is not common. But more importantly, the ability for people to think analytically, to think creatively, and to birth innovation will become something that is a game changer in the current world and even in the future. So analytical thinking is very, very important. To speak to remote work, one of the things that, apart from all of the other soft skills, one skill that is increasingly way bigger than that of Nigeria, despite the fact that we have the population, we have the entrepreneurial spirit. If you see unemployment in Nigeria, for example, the reality is that most of the people that are unemployed are hustling, right? So there is that drive, there's that. But the reason why it looks like there is that gap is the credibility quotient. So, and it goes back to what Dr. Tayo was saying about the person bite. So who are you at the core? What are your values? What But critical, that ability to think, that ability to analyze, that ability to birth innovation, and combined with huge sense of value and credibility will be a game changer in the current and the future of work.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Olamide. A round of applause for him. Olumide, when you were talking, you listed 4 steps. Now, you did this analysis or evaluation as a graduate who is already doing something with his life. Now, let's look at someone who is still an undergraduate in a university or maybe a secondary school student. How should they go through this same stage that you went through? And then after the evaluation, what should be the next step for them to take? And where can they find these resources to help them?
So I think that for people in secondary school, first of all, you need to have a target state in mind. You still need to have a dream. You still need to know what your future looks like. But I would also say that you should learn to enjoy the process of life. What I mean by that is this. So I see a lot of secondary school students who put unnecessary burdens on themselves. So they are done with maybe some exam or the other, and then they think that life is over. Like they can never make it again. Life has happened and all of that. That's not true. From anything, in fact, see, the world has become very interdisciplinary in nature, such that now the person who's studying music has a good chance of using AI, the same AI, and making more from it than the person who's studying computer science. That's the nature of the life or of the world that we live in now. So it means that it's not so much about getting bogged into the technicalities of, I must be something or I must be that anymore. It's rather about letting yourself enjoy the process of your education, enjoy the process of your life. Yes, you still have that target goal in mind, but you are aiming more to be the best at what you are already doing, okay? As against trying so hard to fit into something else. I think I'm saying this because, so I have a relative. There was a time when she ran away from home. And when we eventually were able to get her and talk to her, she started talking about things like mental health and stuff like that. And I was like, where did that come from? I mean, in my generation, actually, what I wanted to study was this. What school gave me was this. I'm finding it hard. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And one of the things I saw was that she was too bothered with the troubles to enjoy the process. See, sometimes you just need to, even in that thing that looks like this is not really what I want, enjoy it. You know why? Because life is interdisciplinary now. My PhD supervisor, a professor, a top-rated professor, the guy graduated as a medical doctor. Now he's supervising computer science. That is the nature of the world that we live in now. It has become very interdisciplinary in nature. The second thing is, you see, in this life, I would say that there are certain things you should focus even more on. A lot of what I've said has revolved around things like degrees and schooling and all of that. But you see, for me, that's not even what matters the most. I would say focus on getting work ethics. That is something that our young people, many of them don't have now. See, go to the US, go to Europe, you find that many of these restaurants are operated by 16-year-olds. And you see them having a sense of responsibility. Like they must clock in their hours. There's no sense of entitlement. You don't get paid if you don't work. In our society, even though Nigeria, technically speaking, going by economic terms, would be a poor nation, we shield our children from all of these things. So if our children say they want to work, we see it as it is something for only the poor. That many people need to be told. See, when the big victories come, eventually your ability to stay is what will make the difference. Let me give you a quick example and I'll be done. There was this king in the Bible. He went to a prophet. The prophet was about to die. Famous guy, famous prophet. Everybody knew him. That was like, it was almost like having God. The king went to that prophet and he said, pray for me, my father, before you go. And Elisha looked at him and said, okay, what do you want? He said, I want victory over our enemies. There was this country that had been defeating them forever and there had been like a pain to them. So he said, I want victory. Then you know what Elisha did, the prophet? He put his hand on the hand of the king. And he said, I want you to shoot. Take this arrow. Shoot in the direction of maybe the east or something, towards that country. Shoot. So the king took the arrow. First time, he shot. Second time, he shot. The third time, he shot. And then he stopped. And then the prophet was very angry. He said, why did you do it only 3 times? You know, every time I read that place, it feels to me like, that king was bad. He was... Until one day, it occurred to me that I was that king. And maybe you too, maybe you are that king. You try something the first time, you try the second time, you try the third time, then you stop. You keep stopping because you are having temporary victories, but they are not yet big enough. And that is something that this young generation needs to learn. We have not built staying power. So you do something, it looks like a little victory, you stop. But that is the problem. You do it once, you would have some victory. You do it second time, you do it the third time. But if you do not continue, that is the end of the victory. The victory comes with the staying. You stay at it. So you are working somewhere, it is hard. Stay at it. You are doing a course, it is difficult. Stay at it. Of course, there are some things that you are not meant to do at all. If you know that that is that kind of thing, yes, you can stop that. But if you are meant to do it, stay at it. Stay at it and keep doing it, and then eventually your victory will come. Have you seen YouTubers? Go and check the most successful YouTubers. Let me tell you one secret they have. They've posted many videos. They didn't blow. If you see anybody that just blew, that person is like 1 in a million. Go and check all the successful channels. Go and check a channel that has over 1 million subscribers. You'll find out something. They've posted more than 1,000 videos. Go and check. But you started a channel. You've posted 2 videos, 3 videos, 5 videos. Then you say, it is not working. It is not working because you are not staying at it. Artificial intelligence needs volume. Today's world thrives on big data. What is big data? Big data is data that has velocity, has veracity, has volume, and there's one more, I can't remember. But what it means is that for you to trigger algorithms in today's world, you need a lot of content. The ability to stay at it is probably the most important thing that you need as a young person. Okay, I don't know if I answered.
Thank you very much, Olumide. Please tell your neighbor, stay at it. Stay at it. Don't give up when it's not going well. Thank you so much for that wonderful value there. Over to you. You sort of made me afraid when you were talking about the levels and the requirement to function. You mentioned that it has changed. You talked about the humans with the intelligence assistant. You moved to AI, and then you went to the 4th stage. Please help us go through what do we need to actually accelerate till we get to the last point that you mentioned.
Okay. Have the first stage, that's humans with AI assistants, all you just need is to know how to use basic AI tools. How many of you here don't know something called ChatGPT? And nobody does not know it. I mean, you don't know it. That is where it starts from. First thing is, learn. See, people are using AI unashamedly. You are the one thinking that they will know that it is AI. See, like I told you, the competition has changed. The playing field has leveled. So first thing is, normalize accessing super intelligence. The book that you will take 3 months to read, the machine will read it in 3 minutes and will give you everything in the book accurately. So just learn how to use it. There are skills, basic skills, prompt engineering. How do you ask questions intelligently so that you can get reliable answers? If you are doing real work, let me give you one hack. If you do like real work and use AI for production, that thing called ChatGPT, it's $20 a month for pro version. Paid version. The free version is trained on data of 3 to 4 years ago. The current one. So learn, that's basic number 1. Number 2 is learn to use what they call agentic AI tools. There are many of them now. They are coming out. I can give you a few names. One of them is called Manus. Just go and look for Manus. This guy is I've seen marketers building software without knowing how to write one line of code. And it's not the one that ChatGPT will give you. This one, it will do it, combine the back end, front end, everything for you, and you will be able to. So when they give you tasks to do at work, don't say, I don't know how to do it. Just collect the work and go and talk to your assistant that knows everything and say, this proposal, how do I write it? He talked about taking responsibility. That's the whole idea. Like I told you, the era of I don't know how to do it, that era has passed. Right now, you know how to do it. If it's not in your brain, where is it? AI has the answer. That's number 2. So learn to use those advanced tools. Level 3 is a bit more complex because level 3 now, you see, if you are at level 2, you are using pre-trained agents. Now, these agents have been trained with specialization. Some of them are design agents, some of them are medical agents, some of them are marketing agents. I gave you one. Manus is a general purpose agent. At least that guy can do everything. But you see, when you get to level 3, the agent bosses now are the guys who can take an entire department and say, I need this agent, I need this agent, I need a graphic designer, a marketer, an email guy, a customer support, and you can create those agents, automate them, and there are tools for it. Cassidy AI is there. Go online. I mean, I can give you tools. By next year, I think we'll be doing an AI masterclass at the Career ID because the tools are already there. Just understand how these things work. But for level 3, you will learn how to build, automate, and get these agents to work. So workflows, when this thing happens, talk to this guy, talk to that guy. You are the boss. You are sitting down waiting for response. You've given the agent work and they don't get tired. They walk around the clock. That's the advantage. Then level 4 is when you have mastered level 3, then you know how to combine it with a real human problem. So you see gaps in education, you see gaps in transportation, you see gaps in whatever fields. Now, this is where you now bring domain expertise. This is why school is not scam. You see that thing they're telling you, school not scam. Let me not go into that direction. But you see, you now need your domain expertise. I'm a medical person, or I understand some level of, see, in tech, there are 2 kinds of people in tech. There are workers and there are owners. Workers understand the skill. Owners understand the industry. So you understand what are the gaps in healthcare. The problem is okay in getting data, in getting whatever. You understand, you have that insight. Then you can combine the skills of agent bosses and create, and then you now have skill stacking. See, mastery has been redefined. Mastery today is your ability to take expertise from more than one field and combine them. So you understand the marketing angle, you understand the funding angle, you understand the finance angle, say everything, and you bring them together and you can solve real world problems. In this life, you are only as valuable as the problems that you solve.
Thank you very much. You are only as valuable as the problems that you solve. And I remember what Auntie Ini said about opportunities are everywhere. It's for you to have the tools to succeed in them. And I want to believe that the gentlemen here have armed you with the tools to start this journey. It's for you to take this information and run with them, and don't just dump them in the pages of your notepad or your notebook. We would like to go into question and answer, but at this point in time, we apologize, we cannot do that. But I want to thank you, Olumide. Thank you so much for the wealth of knowledge and experience you've dished out today. Olumide Adeleye, thank you so much. Thank you, Olamide Adeyeye. Thank you, they sound alike. And David Ogunshola, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Let's do quick photographs. Can we have the founder please join them for a photo? Let's do that real quick. Can we have the keynote as well? And Mrs. Ini, please join them for a quick photo as we wrap up this session. Come on, put your hands together for them. What a packed session it's been. I hope that we're jotting things down. I also hope that we're putting out the nuggets on socials. Let everyone who's not here understand why they You see, as they've said, this world where we live in, it's just like regular layoffs, AI, economic curveballs, all of these have become a Monday routine, and we get to see them back to back. Question is, how do we get to build something that lasts? How do we get to build jobs that will take people out of poverty? As our keynote said, sometimes you create a job, but it's still plunging people into poverty. So we're not talking survival jobs, we're talking resilient careers, businesses that will launch and last, right? And that's why this next session is very important. It's on a topic beyond survival, building resilient careers and businesses in a disruptive world. I think I need to take that again so you get it. Beyond survival, building resilient careers and businesses in a disruptive world. And to take us through it is Patrick Ekpe, Youth Employment Pathways Program Manager of the PIN Foundation. Now, Patrick Ekpe is a powerhouse in career development, and he's got over 25 years of shaping futures across sectors. He's focused on helping young people not just to survive, but thrive in an ever-changing world. Please put your hands together as we invite Patrick, strategist, mentor, builder of bold futures. Please, come on. Don't get tired of clapping, come on.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity. Your Excellency, Senator Lyle, Board of Trustees and leadership of the Bridge Leadership Foundation. I really thank all of you participants for coming in and also for having me here. So my name is Patrick Ekpe. I'm also a local boy. I share some similarity with the past governor who said he grew up in the village, rural setting. The Youth Employment Pathways Program Manager for PAIN Foundation. So much has been said today about jobs, career development, and today it's been set aside as a career day for the Leadership Institute, Leadership Foundation. So I will just add on to what has been said. A lot of things have been said by Dr. Tayo and even by the panelists that have been speaking here. So let me start by introducing my organization, the PAIN Foundation. The PAIN Foundation was established in 2010, almost about the same period, 15 years old in the industry. And our interest in setting up the PAIN Foundation by Chevron was to help support livelihood development, to help improve the livelihood of peoples around the Niger Delta region. So we've done this work in the last 15 years. But in 2017, 2018, the escalation of unemployment, especially among young persons, became so high that PAIN Foundation sought to take action. We sought to intervene in this area. So we started the Youth Employment Pathways Program to provide opportunities for young persons and help them move them from unemployment into employment. So essentially, we help support or build careers for young people. Before I proceed, let me check how many young persons between the age of 16 and 35 are in this hall. If you are between the age of 16 and 35, can you just stand? Okay. How many of you can stand for 5 minutes? If you cannot stand for 5 minutes, you sit down. But if you can stand for 5 minutes, will you just stand? Okay. So I'm moving on with the Duke's stand-up game. So let's check. How many of you who are standing have a mobile phone? How many? If you are, just raise your mobile phone like this. That's about 95%, almost everybody. Okay. How many of you who are standing are making money? Can you raise your hands? That's a significant number. Okay, you may sit. But I will be speaking to almost everybody because I think we all know that unemployment is rife. Everyone here knows someone who is unemployed. Am I correct? If you don't know anyone that is unemployed, raise your hand. How many of you need jobs? So how do we build resilient careers and businesses? A lot has been said, but how resilient
how sustainable can our career that we develop, how sustainable can the entrepreneur that we start, how sustainable can it be? How can it stand the test of time? So what I'm going to do now is just to share a perspective of what PIN Foundation and the Youth Employment Pathways does, and especially with young persons. So in the Niger Delta region, with immense natural wealth, we know that we are very rich in resources, we are very rich in even peoples, in knowledge. It's paradoxically struggles with the widespread poverty. Sorry to say, environmental degradation and all the persistent problems. I was coming into Calabar yesterday after about 9 years. I couldn't just believe. You talk about the health, but even in the Niger Delta region, there are peculiar problems, like somebody mentioned entitlement mentality, So put all this together, they become disruptive. In fact, if you add it to the fragile economy that Nigeria is, it is even more disruptive. So the challenging environment creates a pressing need for interventions that go beyond survival and genuinely empower young people to build resilient careers and businesses. So it's not enough to just say, oh, I want to go into the computer, I want to delve into the AI, I want to delve into this career. You need to understand, Mr. Olumide was talking about how to address your gap analysis. You need to understand how do you find that purpose in what you want to do so you can sustain it. So in 2018, given the high level of unemployment among youth population, PIN Foundation started the implementation of the Niger Delta Youth Employment Pathways. So at this point, you will permit me, unfortunately, the Youth Employment Pathways program is not in Cross River State. But I will think that this will be an opportunity to kickstart that program in this part of the world. Because I think that young people like you need to benefit from this program. So we started the Niger Delta Youth Employment Program to foster ways to develop sustainable careers and businesses and have a beacon of, or provide a beacon of hope, demonstrate practical ways to support employment, especially employment of young people. So the youth demography in the Niger Delta region faces a unique confluence of challenges with a huge number of population being school leavers. How many people here are not school leavers or have not been to school? None. None. So everybody will or have passed through the primary school, the secondary school, and will go to a tertiary institute. But suffice to say that at the end of the day, most of our institutes don't build careers. Am I correct? They don't build careers. They build knowledge. So I got into this hall, and I was speaking with a young lady who is a graduate of the University of Calabar Law Faculty. And what will you do after your program at UNICAL? Oh, I will go to law school. That is a preparatory school for a career. So you will graduate, you will go to a preparatory school before you earn yourself into the career. So the PIN Foundation directly addresses the complexities of adopting a market demand-led approach. So it's not just, I want to have a career in the law or in the judiciary sector? Have you been able to identify with all the speakers of today who says for you to be able to survive the work, the future of work, you need to understand computer, you need to be literate, you need to be able to use the tools that we have in our hands to make it productive such that we can earn from it. So, how do we make our program market-driven and demand-led? This is simply by providing generic technical and vocational training that helps you to design your skills from where you are, taking you to what the market requires. So you may graduate from the University of Calabar, you may graduate from the Polytechnic, you may graduate from any other tertiary institution. How does your skill match the demands of the industry? So it has to be demand-driven, and our program focuses on competency. How can you do as different from how much do you know? So when you take, for instance, that you are able to do, then you now see, oh, okay, so I can provide this service in this society to be able to earn income. So the YEP program addresses the systemic constraints, identifying labor demand and labor supply, and provides sustainable solutions to employment. Program, we also conduct the labor market analysis. The labor market analysis is usually our starting point to understand the dynamics, the economics of the society, of the environment. When we started in 2017, we conducted labor market analysis in all the pilot states, 3 of them, Abia State, Akwa Ibom State, and Rivers State, and identified growth sectors. And the growth sectors we identified were ICT. I'm happy that people are talking about AI today. Growth sector we identified are building construction, area that people don't even focus on. And of course, still in agriculture, because there's need and demand for food. So the YEP program has provided tailored vocational training to build technical capacity and competence to meet the labor needs within these broad sectors that I've mentioned. But beyond the technical skills, our core strength, which is where we are talking about the resilience, our core strength is in the soft skills and the entrepreneurial skills. So how do people behave at workplace? Do people have the right attitude, the right behavior, the right mindset to engage with work productively? We had so many discussions here, talking about people not having the right mindset to work, people not focusing on work, or people not even being able to stay or sustain the work they have started. So through the young participants, they learn critical thinking on our program, they learn problem solving, they learn communication, they learn teamwork, they even go as far as learning financial literacy. I'll give you a practical example. In one of our programs, we train masonry. We deal with low-level skills, for instance. We train masonry, and we train bricklayers. We train tilers. But do you know that at the end of the training, some of the persons cannot even cost the jobs that are available. So you have some, I have a tiling work for you to come and do. And they don't know how to cost and input their profit. So our program goes beyond the technical training, which is just to teach you how to do, to how do you cost, financial literacy, how do you do bookkeeping, how do you calculate, dimensions to be able to ensure that you earn profit, you provide the service in such a way that the market is requiring. So this is where I will end my story for now. The rest of the paper is all about success stories that has been documented. We have Chemela Anosike, who was a YEP graduate and went into Solaris. And then she is doing so well by starting that solar hub. We have Eunice Solidi, who was into fabric making. We have some guys too into piping and plumbing. There are quite a number of them that have graduated from our academy who have provided service under the entrepreneurship pathways of our program. Your Excellency, thank you so much for the opportunity. The notice that came to us was short. We in PIN Foundation, we have this long process of tying budgets to activities. So once the activities do not make into the plan, then it becomes difficult to itemize and pinpoint what budget should come. But within the short notice, what we were able to do is to send representation to this Career Day celebration or occasion. And we hope that next year we will be able to add a bigger voice to what you do. I really appreciate these people all here. As I walked in, I said to myself, it's been a long while that I've seen such a large number of young people gathered in a hall like this, and even at the gallery. So thank you so much for the work you do. Thank you to the Bridge Foundation, and look forward to having a more robust engagement opportunity in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right, put your hands together for Mr. Patrick Ekwe. Okay, permit me to please invite the founder to take a picture with him. All right, that being said, we're about to get into another interesting part of today's activity. And when you have a foundation that's been around for 15 years, right? The Career Day is held for 15 years. Foundation has been around, celebrating 14, turning 15 next year. You know, there are a lot of people that have grown, you know, through the foundation, and the foundation has impact. It's also important that we showcase this and also have these young people talk to all of us so we can see the growth, right, and track it. Earlier on, when the founder was speaking, he'd asked the kids who was up to 15, and I looked at it, there was just a small percentage of it. And it's just interesting how some of us started as attendees at the Career Day conference, and today we're hosting. Some people are working as volunteers. The Bridge Leadership Foundation has done a lot. And to just showcase a few people that have passed through this foundation, I'd like to invite the program manager, Rosemond Achibong, to join me with this. Please put your hands together for Rosemond. Rosemond, how did you find the bridge?
How did I find
What's your story?
Wow, okay. So
I know you were
was
expecting that.
I know. In 2014, I sat down just like the participants here as a participant at the Career Day. That was the first time I had an encounter with Bridge Leadership Foundation. And the very next year, I volunteered. And since 2015, I have been volunteering with the Bridge Leadership Foundation. Now I'm a staff. So you can see the journey. Then I interned with the Bridge, and now I'm working with the Bridge Leadership Foundation. It's been an interesting journey.
So her journey started 10 years ago. Amazing. Good stuff. We have some other people here that also started their journey at the Bridge, and the journey is still on. It's important that we have a conversation with these ones. All right, Rosemond.
Thank you very much, Duke. Without wasting much of our time, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. On behalf of the management, the board of trustees of the Bridge Leadership Foundation, we're so excited to have you here. And it would not be complete, the Career Day will not be complete if we don't show you or you listen to people that have been a part of the programs that we've organized here at the Bridge Leadership Foundation, whose lives have taken a 360 turnaround. We have, people who have gone through beneficiaries who have gone through our leadership and community development program, which I will tell you about it. It's a program that allows for us to provide support to students in public secondary schools between 10 to 18 years. We provide support in leadership, in tech skills, and also life skills. And it's interesting to note that the first person I want to call up is a past LCD mentee, Leadership Community Development, LCD short. And he was a mentee and a beneficiary of that program in 2016. And he was also a scholarship beneficiary for 4 years in the university. He studied and graduated. I think he'll tell you a story. He graduated with a 5.0 CGPA in biochemistry. Please put your hands together for Emmanuel Lucam.
Thank you very much. Foundation began in 2016 when I was in secondary school then through their leadership and community development program. Before this time, I was just a regular student who didn't know anything about mentorship. Like I would just wake up in the morning, go to school, come back, play football, go back to the sleep, and then the next morning I go to school again. But after the mentorship program, my life transformed. I was taught values, goal setting, transformational leadership, visionary leadership, and at the end of it, I became a peer educator. As God may have it, from one leadership position to another, I served as the senior school prefect, BSA Secondary School, Ehom. And when I got into the university, I didn't come empty. I came with vision, with purpose, and a voice that refused to be silenced. Let me be honest with you, it wasn't easy. I faced criticisms, moments of doubt, and certainly the temptation to stay small, stay silent, and blend into the crowd. But the problem was that the leadership model I got from the Bridge Leadership Foundation wouldn't let me. So time without number, I kept striving. I kept seeing myself in the front line trying to solve problems. I became a tutor voluntarily. I stood up on stage when the lecturer was not around. I teach my students physics and chemistry. And from then, I realized that I needed a platform to amplify solutions. I needed to step into leadership, not for titles, but for me to become a voice for the voiceless. And I became an ambassador representing BSS students in my faculty. I contested and won the position of the Director of Information Department of Biochemistry, Unicross Calabar. Also contested and won the position of the National President, Nigerian Society of Biochemistry Students, NSBS Nigeria. In the midst of this, I understood that academic excellence and leadership are not mutually exclusive. They are complementary. I knew when to pause distinguished Senator Leah Imoke, for this wonderful initiative, for this wonderful foundation. I want to say a big thank you to the Board of Trustees and our guest speakers today. I want to say thank you to all of you, members of the British Leadership Foundation, the team who has always been there when I feel so heavy. I say a big thank you to you. To the young ones who are listening to me today, I want you to know that your background
their friends came, no prospects and no plans for networking, accessing opportunities that are available during the career day. But this person I'm about to call did not joke with the fact that we mentioned that there's going to be a pitch for, with the multi-choice on, the African Magic Pitch contest that was up last year during the career day. And he went through all the processes and emerged as the winner of the African Magic Pitch contest at the 2024 career day. Please make welcome Anthony Adaka. Please keep clapping, please keep. All right.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. All protocols duly observed. And special thank you to His Excellency, Senator Leah Imoke. He has been a mentor to me from afar. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. So it seems like we are all biochemists here because the guy that just left earlier on, biochemist from Unicross, as well as me. I'm a graduate of biochemistry. I graduated in 2016 as a biochemistry student from Unicross. All right, so I want to start from what happened yesterday. So I was listening to His Excellency speak yesterday on Hit FM, and then I had an epiphany moment when he said that career, when he spoke about career. And I was like, the epiphany moment was, he's talking about me because that was exactly what happened, all right? Without any connection, without any form of anything, I came for this career day just like all of you here. And then what ended up happening was a transition, all right? So how did this transition happen? I'm an introvert, but then I have this ability to talk so much when I am comfortable. So I have these small notes here to help to guide me so I don't overtalk and waste a lot of time because I wish to be very brief. All right, so when I heard him talk about the career, I was like, I was once this young boy in my early days. I used to tell my kid brothers and sisters stories and they give me fish as payment or their meat as payment. So what's basically happened is that I kept doing this. I would tell them stories of how they are the avatar and all of that happening, all of those kind of fictional things. And then why I stopped was because one of my kid brothers jumped on the road one day and wanted to stop a train. Sorry, what do you call it? All these, how do you call these big cars? With his powers. And I was like, I'm causing problems for these children. Before one of them will kill themselves one day and they will say it's me. So I had to stop as they were, becoming teenagers. But they enjoyed it so much that they were begging me, Tony, come and tell us story, we'll pay you. They even started paying me money. Some of them would save 50 naira, 100 naira, 200 naira, just to hear, because the stories were very, very fun. They were engaging. I'm a storyteller. It's what I do. It's something I'm very, very passionate about. All right? So that was the transition that happened. So the transition that happened was I came for the show. I was among the audience, and when that opportunity came, I went there, made submission, and there were lots of, the first stage, second stage, third stage. There was even a stage the next day where we had to sit down, and they were, videoing us, and they interviewed us. It was a thorough process, right? We were about 100, and then they were able to bring it down to about 50, to about 20, and then even when they had left, all right, they were still doing interviews online, Zoom, and it was a very, very thorough process. And at one point, I was like, man, I don't think I'll be the winner of this thing, because even that day when I was here, I saw some very, very intelligent young men, and I was like, how? So, all right, so when I emerged as a winner, when I got the call and everything, I was humbled, first of all, because I was like, I thought this guy would win. Oh, I thought the other lady would win, but then why me? All right, that was the first humbling experience that happened to me. So when I jumped on the call with these people, and I saw that, I thought I knew something, right? But then when I heard them speak, when I heard them teach me and stuff, I was like, no, I need to humble myself. Because I discovered that I knew absolutely nothing. I was there to learn, and by the grace of God, because of that humility and humbling experience, I was able to pick up a lot of skills. I now understand character development when it comes to script writing, and now understand a lot. All right, and then there was this special advantage I had. I was calling these people boss, well done, sir, and they were telling me, calm down, no, we are working for you. And I was like, what do they mean? But when I went back and sat and thought about it, and they were now telling me, your mentor is Lee Moke. Do you know who he is? He's a governor, this and that. And I was like, oh, that was a privilege. I cannot overemphasize how happy I am to have a mentor like our leader over here. Because the everything treatment they gave me was just out of this world. And because of time, I want you guys to know that talent is not enough. And we are still in the creating process of the movie that is going to air out very soon. So we have non-disclosure agreement reasons. That's why I will not go into the details of that. But then, it's something that is, they say good food, it take time to cook them. No be so? All right, praise the Lord. So because of how I'm so happy, I have a gift because I'm a man of many talents. I can do solar, I can do shoes, I can do almost everything. I can cook very well. I have a business, I'm a chef, and many other things. So when I looked at myself, I was like, I need to give the governor something. His Excellency, something. And I was like, what can you give to a man like this that has almost everything, that has everything basically? And I was like, well, I looked at my skill bank, and I was like, I will make a shoe with love, with so much love in my heart for him as a sign of appreciation. The Bible says, for for whom much is given, much is expected. So this is my own little way of showing appreciation. So I made a handmade shoe for him. It's a half shoe. And I want to just say this thing, last point. Right, the last point is that I'm from the same place with him, and the meaning of Lee is a good name. And I've seen him, why I say he's my mentor is because I've seen him live to that expectation. He's someone I really, really look up to. Maybe the white bears and everything, and that's one of the things. So I really, really love this man. And I want to just thank him for the opportunity, especially the Bridge Foundation, because the Bridge Foundation is really doing what they are here to do. They are giving us the bridge that anybody, regardless of who is your father or anything, you can walk on the bridge from where you are right now to where you want to be. All right? Thank you very much.
Sir, please, can you come on stage so that he can make the presentation?
Take it easy.
All right, I think you can do better. Our founder just got a new pair of shoes or slippers. All right, thank you so much, Anthony. The next beneficiary I'm going to call up is still a beneficiary of the Leadership and Community Development Program, but 2021. And he was also part of our tech program in 2020. And he's a current scholarship beneficiary, currently a 300 level student of electrical engineering in the University of Calabar. And lastly, he is the